I always wanted to know if you can bake a hearty bread with chocolate and nuts. Today we will find out. What a lovely day to bake. Moin, my name is Arne, German hobby baker who's living in Luxembourg. Today we experiment again and combine chocolate with sourdough. I've seen a few other recipes on Instagram and in books, so I wanted to try it out by myself. My chocolate bread is made with cocoa powder and dark chocolate as well as roasted nuts. In this recipe I'm getting away with no added sugar at all, and I feel it intensifies the chocolate flavor a little more. So let's get started. This is from Luxembourg with Loaf.
For this recipe we need 85 grams of levain. I have prepared that already the evening before, combining 40 grams of wheat and 40 grams of water, as well as 5 grams of sourdough starter. This goes now into 400 grams of flour, and then I am adding around 250 grams of water. I leave a little bit to the side for a later stage, and then I add 40 grams of milk and 40 grams of cocoa powder. I have added some ice cubes to the water because it was a hot day. You don't have to do that, but if you're mixing it in a machine, then use some ice cubes. Then I mix everything together with my hands, and this gets covered for 30 minutes for some rest. While the dough was not that dark as I wanted, I added a little bit more of cocoa powder, but 40 grams in total, as I have said at the beginning of that recipe. I used the rest of the water as well as 8 grams of salt, and then combining everything together. I noticed at that stage that the dough was a little bit stickier than usual, but we will see that at a later point. 30 minutes later, it's time for some stretch and fold, so take the dough from the one side and pull it all over. After 30 minutes, it's now time to add the nuts and as well some chocolate into my dough. And therefore I want to laminate the dough. So take a little bit of water, you can use a spray bottle, then place your dough on the countertop and try to pull it to the sides. This is how you get a great gluten development, but you can also use that perfectly to incorporate other ingredients. I'm using here 50 grams of hazelnuts. I have roasted them in a pan, and I am adding as well 40 grams of chocolate. I've just cut the chocolate with a knife to smaller pieces. And once this has been done, fold the dough from the sides to the middle. And then I transferred the dough ball to a glass container, which I greased a little bit with oil. Cover it and let it rest. After 30 minutes, it's time for some coil folds, and now I really noticed a difference in the dough to other doughs that I have made before. It was way stickier. So I probably forgot to add some water, so I decided to get that error fixed. So that's why I took the dough back to a bowl, and then I added some more water. And then I used my fingers to incorporate the water into the dough. I even added a little bit more water until I really felt the consistency that I was used from all my other doughs. Then I transferred the dough back to the glass container, and then I did some coil folds. I really wanted to get back the structure of the dough. So of course you need some experience to feel such errors, but if you have already done some breads, you will notice when the dough needs a little bit more water. So I covered it and let it rest for 30 minutes, and after 30 minutes it was time for some coil folds, and here you see the dough structure is really good now. So you can pull the dough up and fold it over to do the coil folds. So after 3 hours the size of the dough had nearly been doubled, so it was time for the next step, which is the pre-shaping. So first of all, take the dough out of your glass container and then take a dough scraper and actually build up some tension . After 20 minutes, when the dough had relaxed a little bit, it is time for the actual shaping. You take a little bit of flour on your hands also to prevent sticking, and then you pull the dough from the bottom to the top, the sides and then the top to the bottom, and then you actually stitch the dough together. And then you roll the dough up. This is the last time to get some more tension. And then I'm taking my Benetton, put some flour into it, and then it's time for transferring the dough into the Benetton. If you want to have a nicer looking dough, then take also the edges from the dough and do some additional stitches. Cover it, and this goes into the fridge overnight for the next 12 hours at least.
While we wait for the sourdough to really kick in, please take a moment and like this video, subscribe to my channel and enable notifications so you don't miss my next videos. Thanks.
At the next day it was time for the baking, so I have already preheated my oven to 250 degrees Celsius, that's 482 degrees Fahrenheit, and you see how the fermentation really made the bread increase in size. So I'm taking here my loaf pan from my Dutch oven and I'm flipping the dough upside down to some parchment paper. I'm using some ice cubes here to add some steam to my loaf pan, and then I score the dough with a razor blade in a 45-degree angle. So I will bake it now with the closed lid for 20 minutes before I open it. And after this 20 minutes I will reduce the temperature to 220 degrees Celsius, that's 428 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will continue to bake it 20 to 25 minutes. And this will cool now for 1 to 2 hours. So let's cut the bread and look how it looks inside. Ooh, the crust really sounds great. And look at the crumb. Wow, that really looks amazing. Oh, and the smell is beautiful. And here enjoy some nice pictures of the bread. Bon appetit!
I hope you liked this recipe. As you learned in this video, you need to feel your dough to understand what is missing. This way you can correct mistakes even at a later stage. If you bake the recipe, please tag me on Instagram and leave a comment below the video. You can find more experiments and great recipes in this channel, so a subscription is worth it. See you next time, Eddie, and goodbye.